Have you ever felt confused in your relationship? Like guilty, but not sure why, or obligated and feeling badly about it, but you can't quite put your finger on why you're feeling that way? What if I told you that might be purposeful, emotional manipulation by the person that is supposed to be loving you? It destroys so many relationships. Today, I want to talk about emotional manipulation because it can be really subtle and it destroys so many relationships. Welcome to my Broken to Brave podcast. I'm Donna Barnes, the love coach. Manipulation can be incredibly subtle. It's amazing to me how many times I'm talking to a client, usually after a breakup or if they're in a really difficult relationship that's struggling, and I point out to them that they're being manipulated, and they're really shocked. They don't disagree. They just are shocked. That's exceptionally common. So I thought it was really valuable to talk about what are the signs of manipulation so that you don't get sucked into it and that you can make better choices about who you want to be in a relationship with. And if you are in a bad relationship and need to get out. Years ago, I studied Meisner acting technique. We had to come up with activities that you had to be doing something that was very important to you when then your scene partner walked in with something that was very important to them and needing something from you, and then the scene would play out from there. The whole point of Meisner is it's listening and responding, being in the moment and really living out the moment, which is just true of life. Putting your attention completely on your partner, listening to them while not losing yourself. And that's exactly why I wanted to bring up, I think it's a perfect example. How that relates to manipulation is if you've got something going on in your life that is important to you and that you're trying to do, and you allow someone else to interrupt it with something else that they've got going on that they've made you feel like is more important than what you have, you need to gut check that. That's manipulation. They should be able to take care of things themselves. And look, I mean, yeah, we all like to help people. Look, I help people for a living, right? So I get it. But that victim mentality is really where manipulation stems from, in that I can't do this for myself. I need you to do this for me. And it's also control. Controlling what someone else does is a big part of manipulation, especially if you're going through a divorce or any kind of breakup. Your ex is trying to control what you do because they don't want to lose you. And they're probably putting all sorts of parameters on things that they need from you, but they don't need anything from you. And if you hold strong enough boundaries, you'll recognize that. And that doesn't mean that you can't do things for people that you want to do, but they shouldn't ask you, right? It's different if you have an impetus that you want to do something for somebody, not based on guilt or any kind of obligation, but because you just genuinely want to, then that's a good thing, right? That's nice. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when someone makes you feel like you're obligated to do things for them and making you feel guilty about it and trying to control what you do, which is all manipulation. Gaslighting is another way that people manipulate you, right? That they make you doubt everything that's going on. You're not sure what's real, what's not real. You can't trust your own feelings. That's gaslighting. And it's a huge manipulation in making someone doubt what they know to be true. Is a deep manipulation. If your partner is asking you to do something, you need to hold strong boundaries about it and not compromise yourself to help your partner. That's not usually the case. Classic manipulation is where you're subtly working somebody to get them to do what you want them to do, regardless of how they feel about it or what they think. A manipulator is self-driven and is usually using subtle tactics so that you don't, it's not obvious. You're not aware of it. So you have to be really strong in your own boundaries. And really, knowing your true self is knowing your wants and needs, the things that are important to you, and not wavering from them. Look, I think very generous people frequently are victims of manipulation, largely because they're very compassionate and they have a good heart and they want to help, which is a wonderful quality. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be that if that's who you are. However, do not let someone take advantage of that by manipulating you so that they gain from your generosity. Because I just see this happen so often in coaching mostly, but like also in some people in my own life, right? So what are the signs to look for? If someone is asking you to do something that your instinct is telling you you really don't want to do, you should not do it. That's the boundary thing. That's holding the boundary of not allowing yourself to be manipulated by somebody. And largely manipulation happens by playing the victim. I need help. I can't do this on my own. You made me do this. You have to help me. You have to this. You have to that. Is all manipulation. You are not supposed to rescue anyone. You can help someone if you choose to, but manipulation is about being a victim and manipulating you to make you feel like you need to take care of them and that you need to help them or you need to do whatever it is that they're asking you to do, which you don't. If you just don't feel good, if you're just constantly stressed out, you're exhausted, I'll tell you, it's emotionally exhausting to be on the other side of a master manipulator. So if you constantly feel emotionally drained and exhausted, look at the source of that. And it's usually not obvious. If you can remove people that are demanding a lot from you, or at least hold really strong boundaries with them, that tiredness will probably go away. It largely happens within loving relationships with spouses, frequently ex-wives, of husbands who have been divorced who have come to me for coaching that are complaining to me about something that their ex-wife is doing. That's where you really need to hold a boundary. But then also with children, especially children of divorce, can be highly manipulative because they usually want their parents to be back together, right? Unfortunately, children are incredibly manipulative, and as a parent, you feel guilty and you feel like you need to take care of them. But if your children are now adults, you should be there for them. But you don't want to coddle them. Coddling is so common with parents feeling like they need to do everything and just be perfect for their kids at the expense of their own life. If your kids are adults, and by adult, I mean like out of college, because we now know that the reasoning and decision-making part of your brain doesn't finish developing until you're almost 26. So I'm talking about kids that are older than 26. Should be independent and living on their own and really not needing that much assistance from a parent. Unfortunately, my parents died, right? So I've been forced to live it on my own. But it's also been a really good lesson for me in observing in other people how much they can really manipulate their parents to get what they want, which is really unfair. And it usually leaves the parent feeling completely unhappy. So if you are a parent that's feeling that way, check your boundaries and ask yourself, can this person take care of themselves? Can they do for themselves? Should they be able to? Because here's the thing, you never want to enable a manipulator. And trust me, there are people that are so good at manipulating that rather than ever, their first solution in getting anything done for themselves is not, how can I fix this problem? It's who can fix this problem for me? That's a classic manipulator. And if you're a giver, it's very common that you're surrounded by people that want to take and take and take from you if you don't hold strong boundaries to not allow them to take from you. It's not your job to rescue anybody but yourself. Everybody is supposed to be taking care of their own needs. So you're only responsible for taking care of your own needs. And yes, you can choose to help people where you want to choose, but it shouldn't be because they manipulated you to feel guilty or obligated that you need to help them, which is what usually happens, especially after a breakup. If you're going through a divorce, playing the victim card is just so common when someone's hurt. They want to make you pay that you've hurt them. I don't mean financially, but like that happens too, right? So don't fall for the victim mentality. You need to really stay true to yourself. And if it doesn't feel right to you, or if it bothers you, or it's really nagging at you, gut check that. Trust your instincts. Our instincts are usually spot on. I don't know if you ever watch any of those shows where they're talking about somebody who was a victim of a crime. They all had an instinct beforehand of something that they shouldn't have done that got them in trouble, right? And honestly, geez, I moved to Manhattan in the 80s as a teenager, which, I've said to a lot of people, I attribute the fact that nothing bad ever happened to me is because I never put myself in situations to have something bad happen to me. And I think that's all part of the not playing the victim card. You should be able to take care of yourself. Anybody in your life should also be able to take care of themselves. And you are not obligated to rescue them or adjust your life. And you certainly shouldn't enable the behavior of them needing you to do things for them. Because as adults, we're all individuals responsible for taking care of ourselves. And if you enable somebody by constantly doing things that they want you to do, and I'm not talking about financially here. I mean, yes, it can be financially, but I'm really talking about emotionally. Someone who's constantly needing your attention or needing you to do things with them or just demanding so much of your time, if that's not what you want, then trust that instinct and hold that boundary that you have your own life and you have things that you want to do. And if you feel like you have to shoulder all the responsibility for everything, blame is always kind of shifting to you. It's your fault. It's your responsibility. It's your obligation. That's all manipulation. There should always be a give and take in any relationship. If you're feeling exhausted, it's probably because too much is being put on you. You're not holding strong enough boundaries to make it work for you. Relationships should be based on mutual respect, open communication, really feeling comfortable to talk to somebody about anything. And it shouldn't feel like they're dominating everything, that they've got too much going on in their life, that everything you do is focused on what they've got going on and not what you need. What do you need? If you were my coaching client and I was talking to you right now, I'd say, what is it that you would like to do? What is it that you'd like to do that you don't get to do? I'm asking you that because if you've been manipulated too much by either a divorce or by your adult children, what is it that you want? And take some time for yourself. And don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Just worry about getting your own needs met. We are all responsible for taking care of our own needs. And I promise you, you are not responsible for taking care of anybody else's needs if they are an adult, no matter who they are. So leave me your comments. Have you been in a manipulative relationship? Have you been gaslit? Are you frustrated in your current relationship and trying to figure out what to do about it? I'm here for coaching too, by the way. I'm exceptionally good at figuring out what's going on in a relationship. Yeah, leave me your comments. I'd love to know what you think. Thanks for watching. I will see you in my next episode.